Now, some 5 weeks after Ukraine launched its long-anticipated counter-offensive along a front of more than 1,000 kilometers, stretching from an area near Kherson in the south to the Donbass and the Kharkiv region in the east, its forces are preparing to retake Bakhmut, which has acquired symbolic status beyond its strategic value. Following a month-long lull in fighting in this area, Ukrainian troops advanced to the north and south of the city, hoping to outflank it and prevent it from engaging in street fighting that could bring them heavy losses. The Russians continued to launch occasional counterattacks at several points on the line of contact. Ukrainian counterattack operations have largely focused on 3 sectors of the front during the reporting period, with ground attacks concentrated in the Bakhmut area of the Donetsk region, as well as the western part of the Donetsk region, and the front line in the Zaporizhia region. Ukrainian and Russian artillery and rocket fire continued along the front in the Kharkiv, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions. Shelling also continued on both sides of the international border in the Chernihiv, Kharkiv, and Sumy regions. The heaviest combat operations continue to be reported in the Donetsk region, especially in the north and south of Bakhmut, as well as in the Avdiivka region.
Unfortunately, no single weapon or piece of ammunition can bring victory. A Ukrainian victory will result from the cumulative effect of the weapons and ammunition provided by the United States, NATO, and global allies, the training provided to Ukrainian troops, and the determination of the Ukrainian people. That said, cluster munitions are highly effective against certain targets and will add to Ukraine's military capabilities. Cluster munitions were highly effective, but had a bad reputation because the bombs were nearly undetectable. No one knows whether all of them have exploded or not. Therefore, civilians could find it long after the war. And, unfortunately, this is not a hypothetical scenario. The motivation behind banning cluster munitions lies in their effect on the civilian population after the war.
Ukrainian troops are reportedly approaching the E40 Bakhmut-Sloviansk highway from the Berkivka and Orakovo-Vasilivka directions. Russian troops reportedly launched a counterattack north of Bakhmut on July 11 to 12 near Kryhorivka and Orakovo-Vasilivka, which was reportedly repulsed. Intense clashes continued just west of Klishchivka, with both sides fighting for a tactical advantage in the heights overlooking the settlement. Russian forces are reported to have stepped up offensive operations in the Avdiivka area, with attacks reported near Pervomaisk, Nevelsk, Marinka, Pobeda, and Novomykhailivka in recent days. No territorial changes were reported. Special operations units like hers try to find weak points in Russian defenses, engage targets, and retreat as heavy artillery batters the enemy from a distance. Their missions are usually carried out overnight as the mostly flat terrain, with abandoned coal mines, slag heaps, and sparse tree cover, offers little protection. They also helped the infantry hold positions the first night after they had been recaptured in risky daylight raids across fortified and mined areas that came under regular attack from Russian helicopters and warplanes.
This ammunition is used in conjunction with strategic adjustments, allowing the Ukrainian army to make significant advances near the main lines of defense of the Russian armed forces in certain areas. Cluster munitions are often used in conjunction with specific military tactics to maximize their effectiveness. Here are the goals that the Ukrainian army can now achieve. Artillery suppression. Cluster munitions can target enemy artillery positions, destroying or neutralizing the threat of enemy artillery fire, which can be crucial in maintaining the safety of friendly forces. Cluster munitions can target concentrations of enemy troops or vehicles that are moving to reinforce a specific area. By disrupting these reinforcements, they can prevent the enemy from reinforcing their defenses or counterattacking.
Last month, a team of 3 manually directed the drones to attack a cluster of tower-mounted antennas in Poloi, a town occupied by Russian troops in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region. Russia used electronic warfare systems to undermine the work of Ukrainian satellite-guided rockets. The drone, made of a styrofoam-like material and costing $1,500, crashed into one of the antennas, exploding on contact. With Russia's jamming capabilities suddenly disrupted, Ukraine destroyed the tower with a strike from a U.S.-supplied high-mobility artillery rocket system, or HIMARS. The missile hit the structure with the precision the Ukrainians relied on in their 17-month struggle to keep the Russians out. But if the drone doesn't deactivate one of the antennas first, the HIMARS rocket may miss.
The ammunition will aid the Ukrainian armed forces as they continue their counteroffensive, but it will not be a game changer. Through the utilization of cluster munitions, the Ukrainian armed forces have succeeded in making new advances in the ongoing war against the invading forces of the Russian Federation. The International Convention on Cluster Munitions defines cluster munitions as conventional ammunition designed to disperse or release explosive submunitions, each weighing less than 20 kilograms. So cluster munitions consist of a dispenser and submunitions loaded on it. Submunitions are basically grenades with tail fins or bands to help them land in the correct orientation. Using the combination of cluster munitions and innovative strategies, Ukrainian troops have successfully advanced to strategic points near the main lines of defense of the Russian armed forces in certain locations. The introduction of U.S.-supplied cluster munitions has reignited the Ukrainian counteroffensive, breaking the period of stagnation that lasted several weeks. Military personnel confirmed that this ammunition was effectively used for targeting Russian infantry groups, vehicle groupings, and other purposes, thereby facilitating advances on the ground.